Now, it was drama today at Uganda's parliament as some lawmakers scuffled with security personnel, blocking them from entering the building where a debate was being held on the extension of presidential age limit from 5 to 7 years. This is the third day of sitting of the MPs over this contentious bill, which seeks to allow President Yoweri Museveni extend his rule. Critics have described the idea as a sign of the ruling party's greed. Uganda's parliamentary speaker, Rebecca Kadaga, was forced to adjourn the debate about the bill yesterday after opposition MP Lucia Kello raised concerns. Government ministers are confident that the legislation will be passed today. A recent survey by some aid agencies has named the violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo as the most neglected crisis of 2017. The report maintains that millions of people in the DRC are on the verge of a humanitarian catastrophe. Aid workers are particularly alarmed by conflicts which they say have unfolded almost unnoticed in the central Kasai region, creating major displacement and hunger in a previously peaceful area.
The humanitarian situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo continues to deteriorate from escalating violence in Kasai and Tanganyika regions, with 7 million people in urgent need of humanitarian assistance. According to the International Committee of the Red Cross, of the 7 million people in need, 4 million are displaced after fleeing for their lives, leaving everything behind. Director of Operations for ICRC Africa, Patricia Danzi, recently visited villages in Kasai province, many of which had been abandoned, looted, burnt, and its residents forced to flee. They live in extremely tough conditions with no access to health care, food or shelter.
Her small daughter, she was born in the forest, so it was very, very difficult for them. No health care, very little food. So now they're back, and we're trying to bring to them some support, material support, but also moral support.
Violence and instability in Kasai began in mid-2016 after a traditional leader belonging to a rebel group was killed in fighting with security forces. There was also national uproar when President Joseph Kabila decided to stay in power beyond the end of his mandate.
Very sad scene when you see all the houses destroyed, no one left, and you can only hope that the majority of the people were unharmed, but this is unfortunately not the case. So many people also died, either during the fighting or then later during the difficult displacement in the forest.
As part of its humanitarian operations, the ICRC, in partnership with the Congolese Red Cross, has assisted more than 352,000 displaced persons or residents in this year. Analysts fear growing fighting could spark a repeat of the conflict seen between 1996 and 2003, mostly in the east of Congo, in which millions died, mainly from hunger and disease.
In other stories now, Oscar Pistorius still remains in the news despite being in jail. The Paralympic gold medalist is appealing to South Africa's highest court to cut the sentence he got for murdering his girlfriend. Pistorius was jailed for 6 years for shooting River Steenkamp, but last month prosecutors argued against the duration, making the court to more than double the term to 13 years. Pistorius filed documents to the Constitutional Court challenging the appeal court's ruling. He argued that the judgment disregarded material findings of the trial court, and this was in breach of his constitutional rights to fair trial and sentencing. Legal analysts say that such appeal cases to the Constitutional Court had slim chances of success. Now, in a bid to stem the ongoing crisis in South Sudan, all parties of the world's youngest country are meeting in Ethiopia for an Intergovernmental Authority on Development Summit. They say they hope to reach a consensus in ending hostilities in the country as soon as possible.
Delegates are meeting in Ethiopia for a 5-day summit on South Sudan. They are members of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development IGAD-led Revitalization Forum that aims to put an end to hostilities as soon as possible. Representatives from the government, the opposition and former political detainees say that they hope the gathering in Addis Ababa from Monday till Friday will end suffering once and for all. These delegates are trying to reach agreements on three major issues: the restoration of a permanent ceasefire, full implementation of the 2015 peace agreement, and a timeline for democratic elections. South Sudan's government is confident that this forum will succeed on all three accounts.
I think the meeting so far has achieved to a large extent what the government expected. And we are engaging constructively. We are the government. We have come to bring peace because we are responsible for the people of South Sudan in the country called South Sudan. So we are not going to behave like rebels or a strange group or people who want to agitate and destabilize the system.
Other key stakeholders, the Sudan People's Liberation Movement in opposition and former political detainees, also believe the forum will lead to peace and stability.
We should come up with a positive outcome so that eventually peace is realized in South Sudan. Resolutions that will make sure that whatever happened in the past will never ever happen again.
I'm optimistic, I'm very optimistic that we will achieve cessation of hostilities and ceasefire, because we don't have any choice but to do that. So this is a forum that has been accepted by everybody in South Sudan, and we are putting a lot of hope.
One reason for the failure of the 2015 peace agreement was lack of funding, and there are similar fears that financial constraints may hamper the outcome of this revitalization forum. Some critics also have accused the international community of failing to support the implementation of the deal on the ground.
The Egyptian government has opened the first phase of the library of St. Catherine's Monastery in Sinai. This comes after nearly 4 years of renovating the World Heritage Site. Let's take a look.
Egypt reopened the library of St. Catherine's Monastery in Sinai after nearly 4 years of renovation work. To contain around 6,000 religious manuscripts and thousands of other ancient books and scrolls. When completed, the religious library is expected to become one of the largest of its kind in the world, second only to the Vatican's library. Some of the manuscripts housed there date back to the 4th century AD. St. Catherine's Monastery is a symbol of tolerance to the world because it is of importance to all of humanity, and because of this library that we are getting right now. We have more than 6,000 of these manuscripts that are wrapped inside, here at the monastery. They have all been digitally documented and renovated. There are security cameras, an alarm system, and an automatic fire extinguisher system have been installed. It has been undergoing renovation work for less than 4 years, and God willing, we will continue with the west wing of the library. The library also has a rare version of the Bible written in the ancient Syriac text and believed to be the oldest copy in the world. The reopening also includes a mosaic panel dating back to the 6th century AD. It took the Ministry of Antiquities and an international research team headed by the monastery under the leadership of Italian scientist Professor Nardi Giovanni 12 years to finish restoring the panel. When we say we've renovated the library, it means that we have been wrapping these manuscripts after taking microfilm photographs of them so that any scientist who would like to study them can do so by viewing them on screens so as not to touch the manuscript, putting it in danger of damage. The panel, located in the monastery's church, is 46 square meters with 500,000 pieces of mosaic. It depicts Jesus standing next to prophets Moses, Elijah, and Jacob. St. Catherine's Monastery, founded in the 6th century and located at the foot of Mount Sinai, is one of the oldest Christian monasteries in the world and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is part of the Eastern Orthodox Church.
Still to come on the program, we'll tell you how South Sudanese refugees living in Uganda are preparing for Christmas. Do join us again.